Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Waffle Press Morning Movie Show Hangouts. I'm your host, Diego Crespo. With me today is my co-host, Universa.
Hello, I'm reporting from the Four Seasons Landscaping and Architecture. It's my perpetual home for the next couple days.
Okay, what's it like sitting next to a sex shop and a crematorium?
It's not too bad. It's a nice neighborhood for the most part. Just the crematorium, it's pretty. It's a nice family business. It's been in their family for like 4 generations. And the sex shop, it's sex positive. That's
I hear it has
that's
better. I hear it has better Yelp reviews than the Four Seasons. So good on them. Well deserved, I'm sure. Also, today's episode is going to be about film noir, but we just want to mention because naturally the United States just cannot get it together. Everyone, please stay home as often as possible, as often as you can. We're kind of on our own here, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So look out for each other. Stay home, wear your mask if you're outside, and try to convince as many people as you can to stay home as well.
Yeah, don't kill your grandma, because I'm just staying home with my parents. We're not having anyone over. I'm gonna cook something. You're just gonna chill, right?
Yeah. I got a crock pot, so I'm busting that open with some ham. I'm not a big turkey guy, but maybe some turkey. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
That sounds like, it's not kosher, but it sounds like a good plan.
Yeah. Today we're gonna talk a little bit about. Huh?
It's a dirty animal.
Oh yeah. But anyways. Yeah, so we're here to talk about film noir, but first we always open up the show with what we're watching lately. So Gene, what have you been watching lately?
Lately, in terms of movies, I've been trying to catch up with a lot of streaming films because I missed the when a film would come out in a theater, there'd be sometimes a limited window, and for streaming, it's kind of you don't have that rush to get in because it's always going to be there. But I watched Totally Under Control, the COVID documentary on Amazon. That was a little frightening considering where we're at right now, but at least I watched it like after the election, so that wasn't as depressing for sure. But I would recommend that because it's a very, I wouldn't say scary, but it's very harrowing. But it is necessary to watch. I mean, it really encapsulates the whole year and puts everything in perspective in terms of what the U.S. did wrong, and lack of leadership. I watched the trial of the Chicago 7. I didn't hate it as much as I thought I would. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's that great either. Certainly shouldn't win an Academy Award, but 5 or 6 months from now, I'll probably be proven wrong.
And, don't put that out there. don't do this to me.
Yeah. Antebellum. That was not a good experience. I saw that. I got it for free at Redbox, but that was I don't know. It felt like very gratuitous, and like sometimes I felt some of the stuff like in bad taste. It was too much for me a little bit.
Yeah, I didn't hear a single positive take about Antebellum, which is too bad because I like Janelle Monáe like a lot as an actress and as an artist. So
no,
that's too
she's
bad.
A good actress. Yeah, it's just that. And then I guess the last thing, I was starting to watch the Marvel 616 documentary series. First episode's good because it talks about Japanese Spider-Man, which is very underrated. And then I skipped ahead just to see everyone dunk on Dan Slott, who, if no one knows, he's a very infamous comic book writer who has very infamous Twitter responses and things of that ilk, and he's notorious for not meeting his deadlines. Yep. But I would recommend watching that documentary episode because it's like an episode of The Office. Like Michael Scott just laying around, and his deadline's it's going up to the wire. Do you have any thoughts?
He uses the Marvel method though.
So I'll do a correction. That's not the Marvel method. The Marvel method is you have to give your artist a summary and you have to give them a clear idea. You could have like something completed in your head. It doesn't have to be a full script, but you'll put in the work to finish it and fill in the word balloons. It's just being more collaborative instead of just giving it to the artist. So that's a misconception about the Marvel method. Stan Lee did not do that
Well, take
that
that,
way.
Dan Slott.
Yeah.
No, but that
But he probably blocked you at this moment.
all right. Yeah, that episode kind of blew up on Twitter. I haven't seen any of that documentary, but
Oh
just
my
like
God.
wow. Wow. Yeah, so I guess check that out if you're interested in a dumpster fire. I've been watching I've been trying to get more film noir stuff under my belt. Last time I mentioned I rewatched Inland Empire, which we'll get into film noir stuff in a second, but like the tagline is "A woman in trouble." That's the most description you'll get about that movie.
Yeah.
Everything else is kind of up to what you get from it. Like that's yeah. Anyways, like there's not really anything else to say. You just kind of got to watch that one.
Is it dreamy?
No, it's horrifying, but also
okay.
very soothing, and
All right.
also it's everything. It's
Okay. Needs to be more dreamy.
It's wow. But I rewatched Michael Mann's Thief, which I think is a great entry point for more modern noir. Is in color mostly, right? And also Taxi Driver. Taxi Driver is one of those movies that's like, you see it like in a college dorm on a poster, and you're like, I don't know if I want to date this person, right? just it has that vibe. It's like The Dark Knight, unfortunately. It's like the incels kind of hijacked it,
Yeah.
but also you rewatch those movies and you're like, no, that's just a really fucking good movie.
Yeah.
like that movie is the business. It's about like the broken America and like how it broke this one dude and how it makes him like isolated, but also how he can't connect to people and he's like a psychopath. And it's a terrific character study that doesn't endorse any actions of its protagonist, which might be harder for people to digest, I think. I mean, after all these years, that's still a big point of like controversy about that film in particular. And of course, like what comes up like from last year when we talked about like Joker and stuff like that. And
yeah.
like subjectivity versus like the character's objectivity and personal like experiences watching that film and that sort of thing. And Taxi Driver's fucking great for all those reasons and more, but also just like it's such a great like performance from Robert De Niro, because he's got like so much going on. Like any individual scene, you don't know what movement he's gonna do, like either with his dialogue or like with his body. And it's just like, I've always, who doesn't love Taxi Driver? I'm not surprising anybody when I say it's a great movie, but like just rewatching it recently, I was like, wow, like that one really, really holds up. And I also rewatched Crimson Tide recently for a guest spot on our buddy, the Youth Critic Kale's podcast. Crimson Tide by the late great Tony Scott, maybe the great submarine film, right alongside The Hunt for Red October, about stopping nuclear holocaust, and a battle of wits between Denzel Washington and Gene Hackman. It might be a masterpiece. It's fucking terrific. Have you ever seen Crimson Tide, Gene?
No, I have to then.
Oh, dude, it's on Amazon Prime. Wrong aspect ratio, but doesn't even matter because the movie's just that good. I bring this up on the podcast too, but this is just a pet peeve I have because I will talk about Tony Scott later as well. But Tony Scott always shot, or at least primarily shot, in like that anamorphic widescreen, the 235i, and Crimson Tide is compressed to 16:9, the traditional widescreen, and it's a gorgeous looking film, anyways. But it's just a bummer. Like, why did they do that? Like HBO did that for a long time. Like, don't do that. Come on, dude. Like, that should be illegal. I think people should actually be punished for that.
They should be shot.
I don't. Whoa. You're probably not wrong. No. We can't endorse actual violence here. We only joke about that stuff. But yeah, let's just get into it. Film noir. What do we know about film noir?
It means it means black. what it translates to.
Yeah, it's literally just
Yeah.
that. But
It's a fancy way to describe a film.
it is a fancy way to describe a film. But I'm going to describe the actual definition of film noir anyways. French for dark film, like you said. It's a style of filmmaking characterized by such elements as cynical heroes, stark lighting effects, frequent use of flashbacks, intricate plots, and an underlying existential philosophy. The genre was prevalent mostly in American crime dramas of the post-World War II era. That is from Britannica.com. And I actually this isn't going to be like a super in-depth discussion of film noir. This is just kind of like a place to start with film noir. So we're not going to talk too deeply about stuff like Out of the Path, Maltese Falcon, and stuff like that. But do you remember the first film noir like adjacent movie you saw, Gene? So like I guess the post 1980s is I think where our cultural touchstones would start, before we get back into the black and white era. Do you remember the first one that maybe struck you or you remember watching?
Oh, that I remember watching. Well, I think the earliest one is that everyone watches Citizen Kane, but like you don't really remember when. I would say The Third Man. That's stars Orson Welles. I love the cinematography of that movie. He didn't direct it, even though people keep saying that. He didn't. He just probably. They asked him like, "Hey, what do you think of this?" He was like, "Oh, I guess it's guess it's fine." I don't think you would have like a what's that instrument that plays for the soundtrack? It's like sounds like a SpongeBob. It's a
Slide
zither.
whistle?
No, it's a zither.
A zither?
Yeah, it's like this. It's like kind of like a ukulele sounding instrument. That's in The Third Man.
I can't recall the name.
Oh, okay. No, it's all right. Just think of like all the music they use for like SpongeBob or something, or like Tiny Tim, that artist. Yeah, it sounds like that. So yeah, I think that's the one where I'm like, oh, I really dig this. So yeah, that would probably be one of the first ones.
I think for me, because I remember I loved the Universal Monster stuff when I was younger, right? And so I'll get there, I promise. But I'm going to start with the 1999 Mummy, which has nothing to do with film noir. Just show me out. When that first came out, like on VHS and DVD, right? Or I guess VHS would have been 1999, right? So like they always played the trailers before the movie on those, right? You had to rewind them and all that jazz. Now in those trailers, they would show like obviously other Universal Pictures movies that they were trying to promote. And a big part of that was the Universal Monster stuff. So there would be like images of like Dracula, the Wolfman, Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, all that, right? And I was always so like fascinated by the black and white photography because it just didn't look like stuff from that era. It doesn't look like stuff from now either, right? Like The Lighthouse is like probably the most it's a direct like attempt at replicating that original film look and everything like that. And but seeing the trailer for those on like a VHS tape like really struck me because it scared me because the monsters, but I was also like interested in that. And so eventually as I got older, I started like trying to watch more older stuff just to try to get it, a little bit. And that's how I eventually stumbled upon like Nosferatu on YouTube when I got older and stuff like that. Because Nosferatu is just free for everyone. You can watch it however you want.
The rights are so way past, past the expiration date.
Yeah. I had an aunt who unfortunately passed away last year, but she had a huge affinity for those older classic films, Westerns and film noir specifically. And that is how I actually ended up watching like Casablanca originally and stuff like that. And we can get into Casablanca and stuff like that because film noir specifically comes in the aftermath of World War II, right? That's like the big introduction,
right?
To like the more morally gray compromise kind of stuff. But there's also that conflict because of the old like film laws and stuff like that, where that's how you get like basically mass sex appeal without characters ever actually having sex, because they can't like show certain, or they couldn't show certain things and stuff like that.
Yeah,
exactly. Casablanca was like the big one, and I think there's like this there's this reputation older films have for being kind of like almost snooty or like not accessible to modern audiences
Mhm.
because they're old and they might come across as like stilted when they're being talked about, or like
Yeah.
because like the modern stuff, the faster camera moves, flashier techniques. But film noir specifically, I think such a great like way to go about like starting to learn about older film because it's so stylized and because it's so like it's more modern, right? Like I mean, so many of them are composed to like jazz riffs and jazz scores, like moody jazz scores. I mean,
Mhm.
and like you brought up, like a Third Man, like that iconic shot, like in the tunnel, like that's a striking image that's like on par with like anything that comes out today,
Yeah.
right? Like at the very least. And yeah, Citizen Kane for me was the one that was like, oh, old movies rock, you know,
Mhm.
like this rules. Um, and it's also like it's a basic choice, obviously, because
Mhm.
it's like you also mentioned Citizen Kane. It's like Casablanca and Citizen Kane. You Google those, and it's like, oh yeah, that is often referred to as one of or the top like 5 best films ever made. But like, there's a reason for that. Like, even Citizen Kane is like very like flashy with like its edits, its cuts, it's like the rhythm, the way the story progresses, the performances. Like, it's not like a slow film, you
No.
know. Like, it's about a character study, but it's so like more than just like following like a man,
Yeah.
you know. It's it really goes to show like the strength of film as like a tool of entertainment and expression. And
Mhm.
to me, that's like a big part of film noir as well.
Yeah.
So much of the mood, I
No, I
think,
agree. Yeah, it's
is
very moodiness and like creating this. I wouldn't say depressing feeling, but melancholic feeling. In terms of characters certainly don't win all the time. In certain situations they lose. So yeah, I agree.
yeah. And for the more recent stuff, we I bring up The Last Boy Scout a lot, but like, and Shane Black's whole career, like he gets credit for like revitalizing the action genre with stuff like Lethal Weapon and all that. But like if you listen to him talk about the writing process of his stories, he will like he talks about like his action movies primarily as like mysteries and noir films. Like Lethal Weapon is like a film noir. It just has like big set pieces, like it's
Mhm.
it's an action movie. I'm not gonna mince words. Like it's a bit of
Yeah.
both though. It's like driven by the same principles as something that like that's more morally gray, like Riggs and Murtaugh. Or Murtaugh is like the traditional like good action stand-up guy. Riggs is he's the crazy person, even apart from Mel Gibson. He's the morally compromised one. And that's like the driving piece of the stuff. Or Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, which is like the ultimate kind of Shane Black film, in that like it's everything he loves and hates about Hollywood
Yeah.
in like a single narrative. And it's like really sad, but it's also like really beautiful. And it's about like people that aren't setting out to save the world, maybe not even themselves,
Mhm.
but they kind
Yeah.
of get like the chance to do good for just this one day. And if they do
Mhm.
that, then maybe it's all worth it. And also it's got like the most like reprehensible shit you'll ever watch in like a mainstream movie.
Yeah, there's some very unlikable characters to say it politely in that movie.
Yeah, and I think he understands that's kind of at the heart of film noir too. Like, you don't need to like everyone, but you need to be compelled by the events that are happening.
Yeah.
And you need to understand that like no one is no one in these stories, like they're all coming from like a certain place, even if they're just doing like a job. Like a hitman is just doing a job in these kind of films, right? But they're not like no one. Like, there's an identity there. And I think that adds to like the atmosphere of like people trying to figure out like unraveling like a conspiracy plot or something like that, or like a murder mystery.
Hmm.
And like, I just ended up rambling on nothing there because
No,
I just want
sorry.
to talk about Kiss Kiss Bang Bang for a
Oh
second.
yeah, we should.
But it's also just like a really good starting off point, I think, especially because a lot of people would know Robert Downey Jr. from the Marvel films, right? And like a little quick history lesson is that film basically saved Robert Downey Jr.'s career. That eventually ended up getting him the role for Iron Man from Jon
Mm.
Favreau. That's why Shane Black ended up going to direct and write Iron Man 3, because Robert Downey Jr. remembered that. And he was like, thank you. Let me do what you did for me. And that's how Shane Black kind of came back in the 2010s.
Yeah, I don't
because
know
of
what
that.
caused the like the fall of Shane Black in the 90s. Was it like the last action hero not doing well or something?
Well, all of his scripts were selling, like they were breaking like record sales, but with the exception of Lethal Weapon, they all kind of bombed, like either critically or financially. And they're all like cult classics now, but they just didn't, like they could not break the same like barrier that Lethal Weapon did. Like even Long Kiss Goodnight, you know, it's about a spy and a private eye.
Yeah,
Like, it's film noir mixed with like an espionage story.
it's a Christmas movie too.
And Christmas. Yeah, he loves Christmas. I love Christmas, which is
Yeah.
perfect because Noirvember leads into Christmas. So this is the perfect time to talk about Shane
Yeah.
Black. And he also, I think, just stepped away at a certain point because I don't know the man, but like he's talked about in interviews where like the culture was kind of getting to him, and he may or may not have made like bad judgment calls and decided to step away from Hollywood for a while. And Hollywood's not the kind of thing you can step away from for too long, or else like it might not accept you back in. So he basically said he had to crawl back to Joel Silver and be like, help me. And then that's how Kiss Kiss Bang Bang got made, because he was like, sure, I'll help you because you gave me Lethal Weapon and we made more money than God together. So, and yeah. And also Joel Silver doesn't work anymore. But he's like a notorious asshole.
Yeah, I don't think he needs to work.
Yeah, like probably a good reason. You shouldn't like attack his directors. Not like physically. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like Joel Silver was notoriously like those stereotypical Hollywood producers, you know, that are just like yelling at everyone and shit all the time. So
yeah.
They gave me The Last Boy Scout, so I can't be too mad about it. Let me see. Let me pull up the tweets really quick.
Yeah, let's definitely read some tweets then.
Yeah. All right, so some tweets from people that are also participating in Noirvember, from at Lanky Frampard. Ethan, I don't know what that name is. Double Indemnity, The Maltese Falcon, Chinatown, The Third Man, The Killing, Kiss Me Deadly, The Sweet Smell of Success. The Killing, Gene, Stanley Kubrick, that's your boy. You have any thoughts on The Killing?
Oh, it's the precursor to Reservoir Dogs. If you look at the structure of those movies, they're exactly the same. So
Tarantino kind of has that, huh? Like where he's inspired a lot by older films, and then you watch the older films and it's like, oh, it's literally just that.
It's better.
Yeah, I mean, I love Tarantino, but like I think that's why Tarantino's such a great gateway director too, actually. Not to dunk on him. Like I think this is actually a good thing, because it's like, oh, you like Tarantino, here's who influenced him. You can go watch those, and then there's more of what he's doing, and then you can see like the evolution of them from there. You know, like it's a really cool gateway drug movie.
Yeah,
I guess.
No, I agree. Like, because you know, if I didn't see Kill Bill, I probably wouldn't have seen like Lady Snowblood. So,
and like, I mean, to bring it back to film noir, from at Film Buff put a GIF of the driver from Drive, and I think that's a great gateway noir film too. That's one of the films that like really got me interested in like starting film criticism. Yeah, like getting involved in that more, because
everyone was like saying they hated it.
Yeah, and I saw it and I was like, this is like the most beautiful thing.
Yeah, you're like, these people are high.
They are. Drive is a great film. It is also the exact same movie as Thief. It's the same film. It's the same one. I love Drive. It's the same film.
I remember people tried to like sue the studio after that.
Oh yeah, because someone thought it was gonna be like a Fast and Furious type movie.
Yeah,
that was dumb. Because you know what? If you love movies, you'll appreciate them both for different reasons. Because I love Fast 5 and I love Drive. Just different movies.
Yeah,
that's all. But no, Drive's a good gateway film noir too, I think, because it gets you into like the mood. Like I mean, the opening set piece is like an action set piece. I can kind of get like why someone might not go with the rest of the film after that, because after that it is like a mood piece for like an hour, and there's one action scene,
Yeah.
and then it's just moody until the end. And that's like it. But like it gets you into like the style, it gets you into like that heavy synth soundtrack that I really love. Lots of longing looks, despair,
Mhm.
and really, really sexy cars.
Yeah.
And a cool jacket that people wore for Halloween every year until recently.
Yeah.
And now no one wore anything for Halloween this year.
Yeah.
Because there was no Halloween this year. At T. Brian Wolf, Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid, which is one of the funniest movies ever made. Have you ever seen that?
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's so good. It's for those that don't know, Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid is a film starring Steve Martin, made in the 1980s, I believe. And it's Steve Martin filmed in black and white, interlaced with classic film noir films from before like the 1960s. And it's like Kung Fu Hustle, but for film noir.
Wow.
It's so good. It rules. Watch it if you can track it down. It's that's one of my favorite movies. And at old films flicker, Maria my sweet, this Twitter user, I don't know them personally, but I do know of them because they're constantly posting and promoting things for hashtag Noirvember, which is just noir and November connected together. It's kind of one of the things that inspired me to us to do this episode. And so just give them a follow, check them out, because you'll learn more about film noir from following them than this episode, but you only found out about them by listening to this episode. So, full circle.
Yeah.
They said Gun Crazy, Too Late for Tears, and In a Lonely Place. I haven't seen any of those, so I feel like I'm out of my depth now. What else? What else do we got? I got a couple more I want to recommend, but do you have any more you would like to recommend, Gene?
That I would like to recommend in terms of noir movies, obviously we want to go with Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, The Killing, if you haven't seen it, not to repeat myself, but yeah, those are I'm gonna like just reiterate how good those are. Excuse me. But excuse me. Getting a little tired. Sin City, because I'm a big comic book fan, I'm gonna throw that. Maybe just the first Sin City for sure. Even though I do like Dame to Kill For, just that specific segment. But I think Sin City really captures the comic and the feel of a noir film. It really feels stylized. I think it was kind of ahead of its time when it came out. It really predicted stuff like Avatar with all the CGI background. So really have to give it to them, and check out the comic too, because those are yes, they're very Frank Miller heavy in terms of all his weird fascination with Converse shoes and some of his maybe problematic elements, but for the most part they're fairly good, right?
I have no statement on the matter. Right. I like Robert Rodriguez though, so I'll take it.
I was going to add Dark City.
Dark City, yes, it's on my list. That movie fucking rules.
Yeah, David Goyer's best. Then it's all downhill after.
No, I'll give him credit for Batman Begins. David Goyer is a good writer when it comes to like structure and outlines. I think he has good story ideas. I think individual scenes he really struggles with, because like if you described what Man of Steel was about to me, I love that film.
Yeah,
that's got like every beat you need to work as a movie. But then you like, at least for me, I know I totally get why someone likes it. I do not. It doesn't work for me. But like the structure of that totally works. And I think Dark City is an example of his stuff working. Blade 2 works like gangbusters to me, which is not a film noir at all, but like it kicks ass, so whatever. David Goyer's got moments. Right. He's hit or miss, completely hit or miss.
Sure, I guess. Yeah, if you want to say that.
Mm.
Following by Christopher Nolan.
Oh
Boy,
yeah, yeah.
that ranks higher than Tenet on my list.
Oh yeah, check out our Christopher Nolan episode. I had a lot of fun with that one, and I still stand by everything I said about Following. Very inspiring as a what you could do with a small budget. Also, the lead actor really just does not work for me in that. But I'd recommend it for people looking to get inspired to make their first movie or something like
Wouldn't
that.
recommend Tenet, but
I still got to watch it.
okay.
It's so divisive. Some people really love it. People really don't
People are
like it.
crying.
People hate it.
They cried at that ending.
I guess so. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know.
It didn't make sense, but they still cried. Yeah, the last one I would recommend is Brick by Ryan Johnson. If you haven't
Oh
seen Brick,
yeah.
what are you doing? Don't listen to this. Go watch it.
Yeah, Brick's good. Brick's real good. Brick is tied for the best Ryan Johnson movie with all the other Ryan Johnson movies. So
Mhm.
think of that what you will.
Right. I mean, it's it reminds me of Knives Out, which celebrates its anniversary, where Knives Out is so intricately plotted, but it makes sense. Brick, it feels a little dense, but if you watch it or you watch it again, you'll definitely understand everything. It's all laid out there.
I think that's part of the key elements of film noir too. Christopher Nolan's Memento is also, I think, a good example of like a modern neo noir, where it's got like the elements of mystery, and like it weaves that into like how it presents the narrative, like literally having the character not remember what happens, right?
Right.
And so like it's Christopher Nolan's obsession with time, space, memory, empathy, all that jazz, and like it's a very dense film, but you could lay it all out on a track. Like I think there used to be fan edits on YouTube of like Memento, like in chronological order and stuff like that, right? Brick is very dense too. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. First time I saw it, I thought it was very dense. I didn't love it all the way through.
Yeah.
Now it's my favorite Shane Black movie. Like I adore Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Yeah.
And but like the way people talk in these movies too, it's sometimes not like how you and I talk. It's not how human beings talk. It's like, for those that have seen Ocean's 12,
Right.
it's like those, sometimes the dialogue scenes can sound like that, where it's like,
Yeah. My
oh,
aunt
let the
killed a
sun,
spider.
yeah. But it was not a spider. I then realized it was my Uncle Harold, and it's just like, this is nothing, but it means something to the characters,
Right.
My
It's
boy
supposed-
Michael Mann
Right. It was
does
supposed
that
to
a
be
lot.
a parody of
Yeah,
that.
and-
but yeah.
Exactly. In Ocean's 12, it's like poking fun at like that ridiculous, dense dialogue. And film noir is a celebration of that almost, It's
Yeah.
like I think that's why the Nolan Batman films have so much in common with film noir, like on a surface level at least. Batman Begins more so. Dark Knight also. Dark Knight Rises not so much, but like
Yeah.
Dark Knight Rises is bigger. It's too big for film noir, I think. I think that's another thing. Film noir is small. It's intimate. And Dark Knight Rises isn't really, which is kind of why I love it. But like it's,
Yeah.
Anyway, the point I just wanted to make is that like film noirs with the dialogue and stuff like that too, it's almost like a mask for people's like actual feelings and emotions, a mask for their motivations, which is why you get like all the mask bullshit in the Dark Knight trilogy. Again, which I love, but like it's a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I guess it's just to wrap up then, so we don't spend too much time on this very basic introduction to film noir.
Beginning class intro.
Yeah, film noir 101 for dummies, part A.
Yeah.
I would again, Michael Mann's Thief. Any Michael Mann film is honestly like a good like little segue into film noir. Even The Keep kind of gets the aesthetics of film noir down. It's just like not a complete film.
Yeah.
Collateral is also a great one. Very much like strings you along for like a mystery plot kind of way, but also very existential. Heat, of course, as well. I mentioned The Last Boy Scout. Night of the Hunters, an OG classic 1950s film noir. Kind of leans into the horror genre a little bit too, but you'll have a hard time finding more striking imagery than the black and white photography in that film.
Yeah.
It is ridiculously stunning. If you end up watching it and not liking it, you'd be hard pressed to not at least appreciate just like the pure craft on display.
Oh yeah.
Charles Laughton's only film. I'm pretty sure I brought it up on the show before, but it is gorgeous, and I believe it's on the Criterion Channel right now. And you could probably rent it for really cheap because it's I think it's like available everywhere now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess those would be my remaining recommendations. Oh, Blade Runner just had its in real life anniversary last year, 2019, Los Angeles, November 2019. And I think in a way that might be a lot of like film buffs first film noir too, you know, like when you start getting into like the more classic like science fiction stuff, it's like 2001 and Blade Runner, right?
Yeah.
Like there you go. Blade Runner is a science fiction film noir. But, yeah, let's take all this, go enjoy the rest of your Noirvember. Like I said, that's all we got today. It's a nice, simple little show. Just take care of each other. Watch your morally compromised protagonists deal with hard decisions in case you're wanting to avoid the reality of hard decisions. I got no positive message to leave off on here. I'm drowning. Gene, save me.
Oh, no, there's some positive endings in film noir, like one of the cuts of Blade Runner, so maybe we'll be okay.
You know what? I will double down on your message there. Thank you for that. That was totally the lifeboat I needed. I think Blade Runner does end on a positive note, regardless of what cut it is, because Deckard can finally embrace the more humanity, like the more empathetic side of humanity, because the entire film he's very disassociated from humanity, more so than the replicants in that story. So
not
yeah,
a replicant either.
The point is, it doesn't matter. I don't think he is. If we had to go there, he's not. But I don't think that's the point of Blade Runner. Contrary to what the director of Blade Runner would tell you. But Gene, where can the people find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram, Gene9892, as always.
And you can follow me at Diego Crespo. Check out the Waffle Press on Twitter, YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, and Patreon. Like and subscribe if you didn't like this episode. Like and subscribe anyways, because you might find something you do like. And again, check out the Patreon where you can get early access to the M. Night Shyamalan Last Airbender retrospective. We did it. It's a doozy. The entirety of the Last Airbender podcast and getting ready, teed up for Legend of Korra 2021. Already started recording, so keep an eye out for those.
Yeah.
And stay tuned for some Christmas stuff. Christmas stuff's coming up. I love Christmas.
Yeah,
Probably
Christmas,
talk about Shane Black some more.
Christmas Chronicles 2.
We're doing that. We're doing that.
Go get a drop that right now.
Hell yeah. Yeah, surprise everyone. And Gene, should we do another commentary sometime soon? I feel like we should.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, definitely. Why not?
All right. We'll figure something. We'll surprise you all. All right, everyone, stay safe, stay warm. Happy holidays.